Attention passionate Detroit, Lions fans. Latest news, something big is happening in the NFC North and it could change the game. We're talking about a direct impact on Detroit Lions' path to another Super Bowl run, a power shift that could leave a division rival stumbling for years. We're bringing this to you firsthand. But before that, if you're a true Detroit Lions fan, subscribe to the channel to strengthen this passion even more. Show that you're also part of this family. Let's help each other reach 1,000 subscribers. Share with your FRINDS and Detroit Lions fans. Let's get to the news. Now folks, I know a lot of you have been eagerly waiting for updates on the Detroit Lions, especially with the offseason in full swing and training camp just around the corner. The Lions, a team that's been building momentum over the past few seasons, are now facing some interesting questions at quarterback, one of the most critical positions in football. And I have to say, the buzz around the team is intense, with a lot of speculation about what's next for Jared Goff, Hendon Hooker, and the others fighting for the backup roles. So let's dive into what's been happening, what these developments could mean for the Lions' future, and why it's such an intriguing story for us Lions fans. First off, Hendon Hooker's arrival in Detroit was met with a lot of excitement. This guy came into the league with a lot of hype, and rightfully so. Coming out of Tennessee, Hooker was seen as a potential long-term solution, a future franchise quarterback. Remember, this was a guy who threw for over 3,000 yards and 27 touchdowns in his senior year at Tennessee, showcasing both arm strength and mobility. He was a Heisman Trophy contender, a dynamic playmaker, and many doubted whether he'd fall to the third round, but Detroit was smart to scoop him up with that early pick. The Lions saw potential in him, a guy who could develop behind Goff and maybe someday take the reins if everything clicked. But as many of you know, NFL careers don't follow a straight path. Hendon's start in the league was hampered by a torn ACL that cut short his final college season, and that injury kept him sidelined most of his rookie year. Think about that. Your first year in the NFL, spent mostly rehabbing, watching from the sidelines. It's not exactly the ideal way to start your professional journey, especially for someone with such high expectations. When he finally returned to action in 2024, he was fully healthy, ready to prove himself, but the results weren't as smooth as many had hoped. The Lions, in their typical smart fashion, brought in veteran competition for the backup spot, signing Teddy Bridgewater, a seasoned NFL quarterback with a wealth of experience and a reputation for being a smart, reliable presence in the locker room. Bridgewater's addition was strategic. The Lions wanted a veteran who could step in if Goff went down and also push the younger guys like Hooker. It's a classic NFL scenario. Having veteran quarterbacks in the room raises the level of competition and helps develop the younger talents. Now, Hendon faced some struggles in holding down that backup role. Despite his talent, he only managed to appear in 3 games last season, which isn't unusual considering the competition and his injury history. Meanwhile, Teddy Bridgewater, even coming out of retirement, looked solid enough to be the backup. And then, the Lions made another move this offseason, signing Kyle Allen, another veteran with NFL starting experience. Allen has started 19 games across his career, including a notable stint with the Panthers, and the Lions' coaching staff, led by head coach Dan Campbell and offensive coordinator Ben Johnson, were clear about their intentions. They want to see Hendon Hooker fight for that backup spot, and the truth is, the competition is heating up. Brad Holmes, the Lions' general manager, recently spoke out about Hendon, expressing confidence in his talent but also emphasizing that nothing is guaranteed. Holmes said, "We like Hendon. He's got all the tools, and last year was the first year he could really go full throttle in training camp and during the season. We brought Teddy in because we were preparing for the postseason, and Hendon just wasn't quite ready yet. But he understands that and is working hard." That's a strong message. Holmes isn't rushing Hendon, but he's also not giving him a free pass. The Lions are trying to build a deep, competitive quarterback room, and it's clear that Hendon's future in Detroit isn't set in stone. This brings us to an interesting point. If Kyle Allen outperforms Hendon in the upcoming summer battles, the Lions could very well consider trading Hendon Hooker before the season begins. And that's not just speculation. Some analysts have floated this idea for months. Bleacher Report's Matt Holder, for instance, predicted last year that Detroit might look to trade Hooker to a team in need of quarterback help, especially since Jared Goff is under contract for several more years, and the Lions are clearly committed to him as their starter. The logic is straightforward: maximize value while you can. If Hendon shows potential but isn't the immediate fit, trading him could bring back draft assets or other pieces the Lions need to bolster their roster. And it's worth mentioning that the Lions aren't alone in this thinking. Many NFL teams are always looking for that hidden gem or that next big thing, and Hendon has shown flashes of what he could become. The fact that Detroit traded up to draft him in the third round indicates they saw a lot of potential. But NFL reality can be harsh. Sometimes, even highly drafted players don't find their footing right away. Goff's recent extension, which locks him in as the Lions' QB1 for the foreseeable future, signals that Detroit is all in on him as their franchise quarterback. That means Hendon's window is narrow, and if he doesn't quickly establish himself, the team might prefer to recoup some value through a trade rather than keep him as a third stringer or practice squad player. Now, let's talk about Kyle Allen, who has the experience and the versatility that the Lions value. Unlike Hendon, Allen has already started games in the NFL, 12 in 2019 with the Panthers, and has played for various teams, adapting to different offensive systems. His completion percentage of over 62% and his ability to manage the game effectively make him a reliable backup option. Lions quarterbacks coach Mark Brunell has been vocal about their respect for Allen, emphasizing how much experience he brings and how well he understands the game. Brunell mentioned in an interview that Kyle is a smart player who's been around the league, and that's exactly what Detroit needs in a backup. They want someone who can step in and operate the offense smoothly, especially if Goff ever needs a break or if the team faces injuries. This is a critical season for Hendon Hooker, no doubt. The Lions are in a win-now mode, having built a solid roster around their quarterback, and with the NFC North becoming more competitive each year, every positional battle counts. The Packers, with Jordan Love, are looking to assert themselves as a contender, and the Vikings are always lurking with their roster filled with talent. The Lions know that they need to be sharp, and their quarterback room is a key part of that strategy. Hendon's development will be closely watched, not just by Lions fans but by the entire NFL community. If he can demonstrate growth, accuracy, and leadership, he might carve out a future in Detroit. But if he falters, or if the coaching staff feels he's not quite ready, trading him might be the best move to maximize value for the franchise. And speaking of the Lions' recent history, let's not forget how far they've come since the days of struggling to find stability at quarterback. The signing of Jared Goff was a turning point, and his subsequent performance has been impressive, with career-best seasons and leadership qualities that have energized the locker room. Goff's extension earlier this year underscores the team's commitment, giving Detroit a stable foundation at the most important position. But that stability also means that opportunities for younger quarterbacks like Hendon are limited unless they show significant progress. Looking ahead to this season, everything points to a competitive battle in camp. Hendon will need to improve his decision-making, accuracy, and consistency if he wants to hold onto that backup spot. Meanwhile, Kyle Allen's experience and understanding of NFL defenses give him an edge, but Hendon's raw talent and potential keep him in the race. It's a classic example of NFL roster management, balancing development, competition, and strategic trades to build a team capable of contending for a Super Bowl. And if there's one thing we know about the Lions, it's that they're not afraid to make bold moves when it benefits the team. Now, I want to remind all of you watching that this isn't just about Hendon or Kyle Allen. It's about the bigger picture, how the Detroit Lions are positioning themselves for sustained success. They've made smart moves in free agency, drafted well, and are now cultivating a talented, competitive roster. The quarterback position is just one piece of that puzzle, but it's a crucial one. The Lions' future looks bright, especially if they can continue to develop talent like Hendon Hooker while maintaining stability at the top. And let's not forget the importance of the Lions' coaching staff, led by Dan Campbell, whose fiery, passionate leadership has transformed the culture in Detroit. Campbell's emphasis on toughness, resilience, and playing for the full 60 minutes has resonated throughout the locker room. His staff, including offensive coordinator Ben Johnson and quarterbacks coach Mark Brunell, are instrumental in developing both Jared Goff and the younger quarterbacks. Brunell's praise of Kyle Allen's intelligence and decision-making highlights how much the team values veteran leadership, which is often the difference-maker in close games. Overall, the Detroit Lions are at a pivotal moment. They have a talented roster, a franchise quarterback signed long-term, and a coaching staff that believes in winning. The quarterback competition, especially between Hendon Hooker and Kyle Allen, embodies that drive for excellence and the relentless pursuit of improvement. For the fans, it's an exciting time, watching young talent battle seasoned veterans, all with the goal of bringing that elusive Super Bowl trophy back to Detroit. The city's been waiting long enough, and with each passing year, that dream gets a little closer. So as we gear up for the upcoming season, the question remains, will Hendon Hooker rise to the challenge and secure a future with the Lions? Or will the Lions, in their quest to maximize value, decide to part ways and chase other options? Only time will tell. But one thing is for sure, this quarterback room is one of the most fascinating storylines in the NFL right now, and Detroit Lions fans should keep a close eye on every development. The team's future is bright, and they're all in on building a championship-caliber squad that can contend for years to come. And now, Detroit Lions fans, I want to hear from you. What's your take on this? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. Your opinion matters so much to us and to the Detroit Lions. And don't forget, I'll be back soon with more updates, so stay tuned for the latest Detroit Lions news. This is your source for everything Lions, and we're just getting started on this incredible journey. Thanks for watching, and as always, let's go Lions!